Yeah, live is started. Good morning, everyone. So, quickly revise like what we covered in the last session. Last session we covered translators and we covered programming structure, Java program structure. Basically, while writing the program structure, we need to follow some structure. Like the first statement should be the package statements. Package statements meaning group of classes while the first line should be the package structure. Package statements, package meaning package contain multiple classes, package contain multiple classes. And import statements, so based on the if you want to use one program into the another program, we will use the import statements. After that we will have the class declaration. Class declaration meaning class is the blueprint of the object. It is the imagination. It is the imagination of the program. So we need to declare the class. Within the class you should take the variables and methods. Variables are the it will store the values. Containers, variables is similar to containers. It will store the values, it will hold the values. After that we will have the methods will do the operation. So we will write the logic. Based on the requirement we will write the logic, so the method will perform that operation. So if you observe here, package statement is used to group up our classes. At most, we can write the first line. I would say we can write only one package statement in one Java program, and package statement should be the first statement in the program. First statement in the program. I will show you in the real time also. Import statements are used to import the one program into the another program. We can write multiple import statements in one program. It depends on the requirement. So if we can use multiple programs in the one programs also. So multiple statements based on the requirement we will use it in our programs. After that, class is the important part in the Java program. Class is a plan to define the program elements. Inside the class we will write the variables and methods. Variables are used to store the data. We can write any number of values inside the class. After that, methods are used to perform the action. Application business logic will be right inside the methods. A class can be, we have the any number of methods. So this is the overall Java program structure. This structure I will show you in the real time with the real time examples. I will open a TLC project. Java type tools. I have the TLC project. So open. Okay, I will open other project, aim guides demo, um, core. So core contain the backend concepts, SRC, main, Java, Orcom, Adobe, AEM, guides. If you observe this file and the entire Java program structure, we can observe here. The first statement is the package. After that, remaining statements are the import statements. These are the import statements. Like scheduler is the one class. The class might be available in the another. So we are using that class into this program. So after these import statements, we should declare the class. This is the class name. Public class article JSON scheduler is the class name. This is the interface. Runnable is the interface. We are using these properties into this class. Implements is the keyword. We are inheriting runnable interface class into this class. So inside the class we will take the variables and methods. Variables and methods might be interchanged. uh, there is no like restrictions in between the variables and the methods, and the methods. So this is the complete about the Java program structure. So we should follow this structure. Package statements or import statements are the optional, but class declaration, variables, and methods are the mandatory. We should declare the class declaration and variables and methods. So this is the complete Java program structure. After this topic, we have covered translators. Translators. What does it mean by translators? Basically, translators are used to convert one format to another format. We have basically three types. One is the interpreter, second one is the compiler, third one is the assembler. Assembler. Basically, interpreter will convert the program line by line. So for example, you can assume the file has the 500 lines. If the interpreter will execute the line by line, the performance will be very low. The performance will be very low. So that is the one drawback. If you use only one interpreter, that is the one drawback. The file has the 500 to 1000 lines. Like the task you will give to the interpreter, it will the performance is very low. After that, we will have the compiler. Compiler is the translator, which will translate converting from source files to dot class files. After that, assembler also one translator, which will convert assembler programming language into the machine language, binary language. But the assembler programming language nowadays not using, so we are not discussing about this one. So we are discussing about only these two concepts. One is the interpreter, second one is the compiler. Interpreter and compiler. After that, very important concept is the JVM architecture. JVM architecture. Like they will ask like what does it mean by JVM? Could you please explain the JVM? Like that questions they will ask in the interview perspective. JVM is the Java virtual machine. We can't see with our eyes. With our eyes. So that is the like hide one, like we can't see with our eyes. And JVM will be available part of the JRE software. At the time of download, we will have the JDK. Under the JDK, we have the JRE. Under the JRE, JVM will be available. JVM will be available. JVM is responsible for the executing Java programs. Java programs. In the Java execution flow, we already discussed about the execution flow when the JVM has started and all. What the purpose of JVM is, JVM will allocate the memory required for the program execution and allocate the memory when it is not used. When it is not used. JVM main purpose is JVM will convert bytecode into the machine understandable format. Machine understandable format meaning binary language. So this is the JVM architecture. Normally we will write the source files, like the file name extension should be the .java. This is the file name. We are converting the .java file into the .class files with the help of Java C tool. We have the compiler. With the help of compiler tool, we will converting .class files into the .class files. This is the JVM architecture. The JVM architecture has the multiple components. Each and every component has different individual purpose. We will see one by one. First one is the class loader. What the class loader will do? It will take the input as the .class files and it will load into the JVM. It will load into the JVM. After that, what the JVM will do? JVM read that dot class files and it will check the syntax. Everything it is okay. Then JVM allocate the memories to the .class files. This box is belonging to JVM memory. Like there we have the method area, heap area, Java stack, PG register, native stack. Method area meaning whatever the class code we are writing, everything will be stored in the method area. method area. Heap area meaning the objects, like we will create the objects going forward. Objects will be stored in the heap area. Object will be stored in the heap area. After that, we have the Java stack. While writing the programs, for example, if you take the like 5 methods, one method we are calling in the different method, like so we are executing at a time. The methods information, execution information will be stored in the Java stack. Java stack. PC register is will be take care about the line, which line is currently executing, which line should be executed in the next line after this one. So lines execution will be take care PC register. After that, we will have the native stack component. Native meaning non-Java, non-Java. Like JVM developed by using the C language, we can able to write the C++ programs also in the Java. That's why, for example, if you write the Java, so the Java program, I would say, if you write the C or C++ language, that language will be stored in the native stack. Native stack. Okay, so JVM has allocated the memory. After that, JVM execute the dot class files. Dot class files. For execution purpose, we have the execution engine. Normally, interpreter normally compile, but interpreter compile, I would say, execute line by line. Performance is very low. Performance is very low. So to avoid that issue, we have the I would say JDK team added the JIT. So now the interpreter and JIT both together can execute the program. Whenever they execute the program, performance will increase. Performance is very high. That's why Java is the very high performance language. High performance language. This is the native libraries, meaning like we are using the if you want to write the C or C++ language, we need to some libraries. So the libraries will be available in the native libraries. And native interface is the mediator in between, like whenever executing the programs, I would say native programs, native interface will load the native libraries into the execution engine. Native interface is the mediator in between the native libraries and execution engine. So this is the complete JVM architecture. You should aware of the JVM architecture compulsory. This is the JVM architecture. So this is the session we have discussed yesterday, like class loader, method area, heap area, Java stack, PC register, native stack, native interface, and native libraries, execution engine. Execution engine is responsible to execute the program line by line. Line by line. So this is the basic fundamental you should aware before starting going into the programs. Before going into the programs. After that, we'll have the concepts like variables and data types. We'll see one by one what does it mean by variables and what does it mean by data types. Normally, variables are used to store the values. Normally, variables are used to store the data. Variables are used to store the data, and before storing the data, we need to specify the variables. What kind of data you should store? What kind of data you should store? You can assume variables are similar to containers. It can hold the values. It can hold the values. Before storing the values, we can specify what kind of data you want to store. We can specify the type. For example, now like so this is the basic variables are used to store the data, and you should specify what kind of data you want to store in the variables. So this is the like after that we'll have the data types. I'm not discussing about the types. I am discussing about the only what does it mean by the variables. If you want to store the data, like we need to specify the type, what kind of data you want to store. Then what does it mean by the data types? What does it mean by the data types? Data types is used to specify the type of the data. To specify the type of the data. Data types are basically two types. I can data types I can categorize into two types. Two types. One is the predefined predefined data types, and second one is the user defined. We can call like it as the reference data types also. We can call like it as the referenced data types also. Referenced data types. And I would say again, predefined meaning like the JDK people already defined some data types. The JDK people already defined some data types. We'll see one by one. So first one is the integers. First one is the integers. So after that, second one is the flow or decimals. Second one is the decimals. Third one is the char, and fourth one is the boolean. Fourth one is the boolean. Again, integers are divided. They has categorized into four. One is byte, and the second one is the short, and the third one is the int, and fourth one is the long. Fourth one is the long. So we can assume these are like we will get the question like these are the categories we have available in the core Java, but when will you use for the byte, and when will you use for the short, and when will you go for the int, and when will you go for the long? These the questions might be comes. And the next question is the default values. Default values. So default values is a very important concept. I would say in the interview perspective, that is the regular question. They will ask like what is the default value for the int, and what is the default value for the long, and what is the default value for the byte. So they will ask that question. So the default value for all the integers is the 0 only. The default value for the byte is the 0. The default value for the short is the 0. The default value for the int is the 0. The default value for the long is the 0. The default value for the all integers is the 0 only. 0 only. And basically when will you go for the byte, and when will you go for the short, and when will you go for the int, and when will you go for the long? So this is the capacity. For example, I will tell the normal psychological example, like if you take the half liter water bottle, it will contain only 500 ml of water. So these are categorized based on the storage, this capacity. Byte can hold only limited, the range will be there, I will show the range also. The byte can hold the some storage, some store limited capacity. The byte has the limited capacity, and short has the limited capacity, and India has the limited capacity. And like you can assume this is the off liter bottle, like that you can assume. This is the psychological example. You can assume this is the off liter bottle, and this is, you can assume 1 liter water bottle, like that, 1 liter, and this is the 1.5 liter. 1.5 liter, this is the 2 liter bottle, you can assume like that. This is the 2 liter bottle. After that we'll have the one more category, that is the decimal. In the decimals we'll have the two categories, two types. One is the float, second one is the double. Second one is the double. So while declaring the float, so in this category also the default values are the 0 only. If they will ask the what is the default value for the float, we can tell the default value for the float is the 0. If they will ask the what is the default value for the double, is the default value for the double is also 0. The default value for the double is also 0. And here you can mention, like for example, uh, if you want to assign any value, for example, you can mention like float f, float not f, any variable name might be anything. You can mention like 4 5 f, like this. Double is the double, I would say you can mention like this. Double is the data type, d equal to 5.5, like that. After that we will have the char data type. So here char is the data type. Char meaning characters. You can take the characters within the single quotation. Char c equal to, you can take the single quotation, you can take anything, you can mention, you can declare the single quotation, After that we will have the boolean, okay, it will tell only true or false. After that we will have the user defined defined data types. These are basically three types. First one is the class is also one data type. So class, we have who is creating class? Developers, whoever is writing the programs, those guys are creating the class. That's why class is the reference data type. After that, strings also you can consider like as the reference data type. After that we have the arrays also we are creating, so arrays also reference data types. Reference that, okay, I will show you like clearly in the document also. So in the second chapter we have the data type, like variables, data types, identifiers. So these are the basic we need to aware. You can observe here, variables are used to store the data during the program execution. We need to specify the data, and to store the type of data we will use the data types. After that, syntax is the very important. We should keep in mind the syntaxes. Every syntax you should keep in mind. I will write the syntax here. Syntax for the variable. Syntax is the very important thing we should keep in mind. Here we should take the data type name, and variable name. variable name. So data types are two types. Data types are used to specify the type of the data. These are two types. One is the primitive data types and reference data types. Primitive data types you can call like it as the predefined data types. Predefined data types. So these are the number types: byte, short, int, long. And after that we'll have the decimal data types are the float, double, float, double, float, double. Next, char and boolean. These are the reference data types, meaning user defined data types. We are creating these data types. We are creating these data types. Class we are creating, string we are creating, and array is we are creating. That's why these data types are the reference data types. Reference data types. Okay. After that, these are the like char, boolean, byte, short, int, long. So if you observe here, this is the size. Byte is the one byte. It will contain the 8 bits. It can store the 8 bits of data. This is the range from minus 128 to 127. 128 to 127. Meaning you can it can hold the data only between the values minus 128 to 127. If you take the 130, it will throw the error. It will throw the error. The byte range, it can byte hold the only the values in between the minus 128 to minus 127. After that, we will have the short. Short will have the 2 bytes, meaning 16 bits. It can hold the data range from minus 32768 to 32767. 767. If you observe, the default value is the 0. This is the example for the short, s equal to 11. After that, we have the int. Int is the 4 bytes, meaning 32 bits. The data type, the range from this number minus 214 to 214. This is the range. So in between, most of them while writing the programs we are using like this is the regular type we are using while writing the programs. While writing the programs. For example, if you take the more than this number, it will throw the error. It will throw the error. So the default value is the 0. The default value is the 0. And after that, long. Long is the 8 bytes, meaning 64 bits. The range you can observe here. So if you observe the range compared to this one, the range is very high. The range is high. This is the range. The default value is the 0. The default value is the 0. This is the like this is the data type variable name, and you can mention like this. You can mention like this. After that, we'll have the float data types, floating data types. We can categorize into two types. One is the float, another one is the double. Float is the 4 bytes, 32 bits. Float data types the default value is the 0.0f, 0.0f. Example is the float. This is the example. And double, it is the 8 bytes, 64 bits, and the default value is the 0.0t, 0.0t. Character is used to store the single characters. The single character might be anything like alphabet, digit, special character. Anything you can take as the character. Anything you can take as the character. After that, we'll have the char data type will occupy the 2 bytes of the memory. So whenever we are declaring the like char data type, single quote is the mandatory. Within the single quote only you can mention the char data type. You can mention the char data type. So after that, boolean is used to store the true or false values only. It will occupy only 1 bit memory. 8 bits equal to 1 bit. So default value for the boolean is the false. Default value for the boolean is the false. So boolean flag boolean is the data type, flag is the variable. So false. If you not mention anything, it will consider like as the false only, false statement only, false statement only. So this is like the basic, I would say. We are not discussing about the types of variables. We are discussing what does it mean by variables, what does it mean by the discuss at the OOPS concept. Why in the OOPS concept? If you want to access the instance variables, how will you access? We can create the object and we can have access with the help of the object. But we are not discussing the OOPS concept. At the time of OOPS concept, we will discuss about the types of variables. Types of variables. There we will get the clarity what does it mean by the object. Then there we will discuss the types of variables. Now we are seeing what does it mean by variables, what does it mean by the data types, what does it mean by the data types. Anyone have any questions so far, like variables and data types, variables and data types? So based on the variables, so after that, the variable, like to store the data into the variables, we need to perform the two steps. In the interview perspective, these two they will ask compulsory. What does it mean by variable declaration and what does it mean by variable initialization? Variable initialization. Variable declaration meaning we can initialize the variable with the data type. In the interview perspective, they will ask compulsory question, the difference between variable de declaration and variable initialization. Like here I can mention like int a. If I mention like this is the variable declaration. Variable declaration meaning this is the variable what you want to store the data, int data you want to store. So if you mention this is the syntax for the variable declaration. This is the syntax for the variable declaration. After that, we will have the variable initialization. Initialization meaning we are giving one value to the variable. We are initializing. Variable initializing meaning we are giving one value to the variable. Int a equal to, for example, if you take the 20, this is the variable initialization. Variable initialization. So these are the two in the interview perspective. They will ask the questions. The difference between the variable declaration and variable initialization. Variable declaration is the defining the variable with the data type. This is the data type. Byte is the data type. Age is the variable. Declaring the variable. Initialization means we are assigning the value to the variable. We are assigning value to the variable. We are assigning value to the variable. So this is the like the basic we should aware of the variables. Like what does it mean by the variables? To store the data into the variables, we need to perform two steps. One is the variable declaration, defining variable with the data types, and example byte is the data type, age is the variable, variable initialization, storing the value into the variable, storing the value into the variable. Okay, so I will write the one program about the variables, like last time I have created one folder, that is the morning batch. This is the Java batch. Here I will create one file. The file name I will take like as var demo.java. Okay, I am opening this file. So normally public where demo is the class name. We should mention the class var demo, and this is the scope of the class. Within the scope of the class, should take the main method. Public static void main and string odds. This is the scope of the main method. So within the scope of the main method, I am writing the program. From this curly braces to this curly braces, this is the scope of the main method. This is the scope of the class. From here to here, this is the scope of the main method. Okay. So now I am taking the variable initialization. Like first I will take the int age equal to something like 30. I am taking 20. Int age equal to 20. Okay. I want to print. How can I print? System dot is the operator. In the operator concept, we will see about the dot. System is the predefined class. Within the system, we have the variable out. Within the out, we are calling the method. That is the println method. Println method age. So this is the we are writing example about the int data type. Age is the variable name. 20 is the value. Next, we will take the about like double something salary. Will take salary equal to some 33. Will take, and the points will take 33.4. So how will you call that salary? System dot out dot println. Here we will mention the salary. After that, char I am taking like gender. Char should be the single quotation. Quotation is the mandatory. I am taking the male declaration and I am calling the yeah, only single character you should take. System dot out dot println. System dot out dot println. Here we should mention the gender. So if you observe like how I am writing, simply taking the class from here to here, this is the scope of the class. So within the scope of the class, I am taking one main method. Within the scope of the main method, I am declaring the initializing the variables. I am calling the variables. This is the scope. Within the main method scope, I am initializing the variables. I am calling the variables. Like in the same way, you can write all the variables. So simply double salary and so I am saving this file and open folder, Java batch folder. and var demo. So wherever the files are available, there you should open the command prompt. There you should open the command prompt, cmd, enter, and so for compiling the Java source file, so what is the command? Javac and file name var demo dot java dot java. So the file has successfully compiled. That's why it is not showing any errors. Not showing errors. Now I want to run the program. What is the command? Java and file name var demo var demo. If you observe, 20 is the age. This is the double salary. This is the character. This is the character. Coming like 10 to 15 days, you guys should practice with the notepad. Notepad. Don't use the IDs. I will tell whenever you want to use the IDs. Whenever you want to use the IDs, I will tell. Don't go for the IDs. I will tell. At the OOPS concept, from the OOPS concepts onwards, you will use the IDs. Before the OOPS concepts, you should use the notepad. Then only you guys get the clarity where the issue is coming. If any issue will get coming, how will you solve the issues? I will solve the issues. We can get the clarity. So don't use the IDs right now. I will tell whenever you guys will use the IDs. Currently, you don't use the IDs. Currently, you don't use the IDs. So this is all about variables and data types. So initially, we are seeing about the what does it mean by variables. Types we are not seeing. Types we will see at the OOPS concepts. At the OOPS concept. After that, we should know what does it mean by the identifiers. And these identifiers, and we will have the naming conventions. These are the basic fundamentals. Basic fundamentals. We should aware of. We should aware the basic fundamentals. Basic fundamentals. Identifiers meaning we can give the name. All Java components require names. Name is used for the name used for classes, methods, interfaces, variables are called variables are called the identifiers. Whatever the names we are giving for the class, methods, interfaces, variables, and identifiers, we can call like it as the I would say we can call like it as the identifier. Whatever the name we are giving for the classes, methods, interfaces, and variables, we can call like it as the identifiers. Identifiers meaning we can identify. With the help of names, you can easily identify in the program. You can easily identify in the program. While identifier must follow the some rules. These are the some rules. These are the some rules. Like the first rule, it allow only the characters in the Java identifiers. Characters. We should take the characters only. If you observe, whenever you are declaring the names for the classes and for the methods, interfaces, you should use the only characters from A to Z. If you observe from the name, this is the value. If you declare the name like this is the invalid. If you declare the like this, that is invalid. So if you should use the characters from A to Z. Don't use the special characters and all. Don't use the special characters and all. The second rule, identifier should not start with the digits. Digits meaning numbers. First letters shouldn't be digits. Variables like these names shouldn't start with the numbers. So if you observe here, they are mentioning like one age. No, this is invalid. We can mention like this. This is fine, valid, and this is also valid, and we can mention like this also valid. You can mention like this also valid. You can mention like this also invalid. Don't use the special characters. And this is the dollar and underscore. This is the variable. You can mention like this also, like this also. After that, we will have the rule number 3, reservoirs. We will have the some reservoirs. So while declaring the names, we don't use the cannot be used in the identifiers. We have the 53 words in the Java, 53 reservoirs in the Java. While naming conventions, while taking the names, we don't use the reservoirs. Reservoirs. If you observe here, int is the data type and byte is also data type, that is the result type. Again we are taking as the variable. No, that is wrong. That is the invalid because byte is the reservoir. Byte is the reservoir. And one more example we have. And for is also reservoir. For is also reservoir. So that kind of reservoirs you don't use while declaring the names. For is the reservoir. So don't use the for also. Next, after that, int try. Try is the variable, and we would say invalid. Try also predefined one. So while taking the naming convention, you don't use the reservoirs. You don't use the reservoirs. After that, spaces. Spaces. Some guys are giving the spaces. Don't give the spaces. Spaces are not allowed. Spaces are not allowed. Like int mobile bill. Into mobile bill. So this kind of spaces is not allowed. While taking the naming convention, you don't use the spaces. You don't use the spaces. So if you observe here, they has taken the underscore here. They has taken the underscore. Don't use the spaces. You can use the underscore and you can declare the naming conventions. Identifiers in Java are the case sensitive. Case sensitive meaning, for example, if you observe here, foo is in the small characters. Here, this is the first character in the uppercase. If you observe here, the foo has their own meaning. This one has their own meaning. So that's why case. You should follow the syntax. While writing the program, you must follow the syntax. If you write like this word has their own meaning. If you write like this word has their own meaning. While writing the programs, you should follow the syntax. You should follow the syntax. So syntax is you should follow the syntax. If you not follow the syntax, compiler will slap you. While taking the identifiers, you should follow the these 5 rules. These 5 rules. After that, we will have the Java keywords. Uh, these are the two categories. These are the two reservoirs, keywords and like I would say literals. Keywords are again categorized into used words and unused words. Total we have 48. You guys, what you will do, these 48 you should read and you should remember. Like byte, short, char, int, long, float, double, boolean. Whenever you remember these keywords, then you can easily identify. These words are belonging to reservoirs. These words are belonging to non-reservoirs. You can easily identify. So, like I will share this one after the end of this session. I will share this document. So please remember. I will say please read this one and you should keep in mind these words. While writing the coding, we need to follow some naming conventions. Naming conventions also very like the basic fundamental thing. We should aware how to give the namings for the class, for the methods, for the variables. For the variables, we should follow the some naming convention. These are this naming convention also basic thing. We should aware. Should aware the basic naming conventions. First point, if you observe, the Java language follows some standard conventions for predefined packages, classes, methods, and variables also. The Java language suggested Java programmers also to follow the some standards. Following these standards is not mandatory but highly recommended. For example, if I write the pro, like where is my file? This is the var demo. This is the var demo. If I like instead of var demo, if I take the file name like this, if I compile the file name like this, that is also compiled, that is also the file will be executed. The file will be executed. So like I would say we need to follow the standards. That is the recommended. If you are like keeping the 3 or 4 years, or I would say if you are in the IT field, if you mention the class name like this, if you mention the class name like this, they will easily identify how many days from you are learning the Java. They will easily identify. So we need to follow the standards. We need to follow the standards. The standards are highly recommended. The standards are highly recommended. So first naming convention for the class. The class name can contain number of words without space. You can take the class name any words, any number of words, no issue. But you should take the without spaces. That is the first point. While comes under the convention for the class, and recommended to write every word first character in the uppercase. Uppercase. If you observe, this is the class name. The class name is hello. The first character you can observe, the first character you should take the capital. First character you should take the capital. And if you observe here, the first this here this class name contains two words. Hello is the one word, world is the one word. Every word first character should be the uppercase. Hello is the one word. Hello word first character should be the caps. World is the one word. World first character should be the uppercase. Uppercase. So this is while writing the naming class naming convention. The class name contains number of words without spaces. That is you should keep in mind. Every word first character should be the capital letter. Capital letter. Every word first character first word should be the first character should be the capital. So this is the things we should remember while giving the naming convention for the class. After that, interfaces. Interfaces and classes are both are same only. How you are writing with the classes, the same standards will follow while writing the interfaces also. Class is the keyword. Here, interface is the keyword. And demo D is the capital. D is the capital. The same standards. Whatever the standards you are following for the class, the same standards you should follow for the class interface also. Interface also. After that, we will have the variables. Same. The first point is the same. Variable name can have any number of words without spaces. Any number of words without spaces. And after that, recommended to start variable name with the lowercase letter. Recommended to start with the lowercase letters. Lowercase letters means, for example, if you have the, if you observe here, this is the variable name. This is the variable name, and this is the variable name. Sample variable names is the class name, and this is the variable name. It is the data type, age. Word should be start with the small case. Small case. It is the data type, and user is. This variable name has the two words. One is the user, second one is the age. First word is the small case, second word first character is the uppercase. While naming conventions of the variables, we should give the naming conventions like this only. For variables, first point, variable name can have number of words without spaces. That is the first point. Recommended to start with the variable name with the lowercase letters. Lowercase letter. If the variable name contains multiple words, then recommended to write first word all characters in lowercase, and from second word onwards every word first character in the uppercase. That what I'm saying. If you observe here, this is the first word. The first word should be in the lower cases only. Second word, first character should be the uppercase only. Uppercase only. So while taking the naming conventions for the variables, you should follow these steps. You should follow these two steps. This step is common for all, like class name, interfaces name, method name. This step is common for all the steps. But this is the vary, like variable name, the first word, all the lower case letter characters only. Second word, first character should be the uppercase. Next, I would say convention for the methods, coding convention for the methods. So methods and variables are same. Like this first point is the same for all. Method name can have any number of words without spaces. Recommended to start method name with lowercase letter, and if the method name contains multiple words, then recommended to write the first word all characters in the lowercase, and from second word onwards every word first character in the uppercase only. Variable names and method names both are same. How you will write for the variables, the same standards you can follow while writing the methods also. This is the method. Only the method has only one word. If the method has the only one word, you should take all the characters in the lower case. If you observe here, the method has the two words. Save is the one word, user is the one word. So user first word have all the characters should be in the lower case. Second word first character in the uppercase. So this is the the same standards what we are following for the naming convention for the variables. You should follow the same standards for the methods also. Okay, and so if you observe here, note variables and methods naming conventions are same, but methods will have the parenthesis. Only the difference is parenthesis. Round braces, methods have the round braces. Only the difference is in between the variables and methods is the parenthesis. And after that, this is very important, naming convention for the constants. Naming convention for the constants. Constant meaning fixed values. Once you initialize the values, we cannot modify the value. So if you observe here, recommended to write the constant variables all characters in the uppercase. If the constant variable contain multiple words, recommended to use underscore with all uppercase characters. If you observe, the first you should write all characters should be in the uppercase when the values are the constant. Constant meaning we cannot manipulate, we cannot change in the future also. Whatever the value we are giving, that value you should utilize. You don't manipulate that value. The constant values you should take the all characters are the uppercase only. Minimum age, maximum age. This is the very important thing you should keep in mind. Next, packages. Packages also, packages name can have the any number of characters and any number of words. This point is the same for all the like methods, classes, variables, and the next point recommended to use lower case only. While we are writing the package names, coming days like after the OOPS concept started, we are using the IDEs. There under the Java we are creating the packages. So while taking the packages, you should use the small cases only. We should use the lower case. While giving the naming conventions for the packages, we should use the lower cases only. If the packages if you observe, if the package name contain multiple words, then we will use the dot to separate the words. To separate the words. For example, like I will show you like these are the predefined packages which will be available in the Java document. The JDK Sun Microsystem has released the one document. This is the document. So if you observe any package, like the package contain multiple words, Java is the one word, lang is the one word. So like we will use the between the two words, should use the dot. Should use the dot. This is the naming convention for the package. So any doubts from naming conventions? Naming conventions is the basic thing. These are the fundamentals. These are the fundamentals. If I share the document, you will go through it. You can able to understand at the time of first reading itself. Why? Because these are the basic standards. You should follow the standards. These are the recommended. You should. I will forward this document to you. Everyone, please go through it. Then you will, while writing the, while taking the namings for the methods, variables, you guys don't confuse. I observed like previous batches, lot of like most of them they are confusing while giving the names, class names, method names. They are totally confused. So naming conventions is the basic fundamental things. You should aware the awareness of the basic fundamental things. After that, comments. Comments also basic things. Comments also will say. Basically, I would say comments is to give the extra information about the code. In the comments, we have the three types of comments. Commented code will not participate in the compilation and execution. Compilation and execution. Meaning we are giving the comments. If you give the comment for the any line code, so the compiler will skip that line. The compiler will skip that line. Meaning in the real-time scenarios, the programmers will write the some extra information about the code. Three types of comments we have. Single line command. If you want to comment only single line, you can give the like this. And if you want to comment the multiple lines, you can use the multi-line command. For example, if you want to comment 50 lines, so this is the very like time taken to comment each and every line. So instead of that, we'll have the multi-line command. We will have the multi-line command. So like you should give the multi-line command, then you can be able to comment the multi-lines. And the third command will have the document command. Document command. It is used to generate the API documents. API documents meaning in the like the JD we have the like Java SE document. There, if you want to comment like in the advanced Java, we will create the documents also. There, if you want to comment anything, we'll have the documentation comments. With the help of document comments, we can able to this is the we can I would say use the documentation comments. These are the three commands in the core Java, like single line command, multi-line command, documentation command, documentation commands. So these are the basic things we should aware. We should aware. These are the fundamentals. So from coming classes, we will discuss what does it mean by strings, and so slowly we will start the programming. Slowly we will start the programming. So up to now, whatever we have discussed, those are the all are the basic things. I will share the entire document for you. So please read all the documents. We will take the KT6 from you. Whoever is like good at these topics, like we'll ask the questions and all from whatever the concepts we have completed. Whoever is the giving the answers, whoever is giving the question like reply. So those guys will allow the next sessions. Why? Because if the guys are not proper in the previous session, if I like tell the next upcoming classes, the guys are unable to understand. That is the issue. Whoever is good at these concepts, those guys only will forward to coming classes. These are the fundamental things. You should aware the fundamental things. Okay. This is the today's session.